Hey everyone, welcome back to the Journeys by Jingle podcast. I'm Jennifer, travel advisor, Disney addict, cruise enthusiast, and your go to guide for turning your vacation dreams into actual trips you'll remember for the rest of your life. And today I want to start with something a little different. We're not diving into destinations today, we're not talking about what to pack or how to score a deal. We're not even talking about where to go. Today, I want to talk about something I think about a lot as a travel advisor. Something that honestly gets me a little emotional, if I'm being honest with you. Why do some vacations become core memories and others just kind of fade? Because I've been to a lot of places. I mean, a lot. And the moments that are still with me, the ones I can close my eyes and walk back into, they were almost never the ones I planned for. Today, I want to tell you about three of them: two from Greece, and one from the most ordinary Disney weekend you've ever heard of. And by the end, I think you'll understand why I do what I do. A few years ago, I went to Greece, and I went with all the expectations you'd expect: the ruins, the history, the food, and those were all incredible. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But this trip had a different layer to it for me because we were retracing the journeys of the Apostle Paul. So I had these places circled on my heart before we ever left the ground. I had ideas about which moments were going to hit, which stops were going to be the ones. And I was wrong about almost all of it. And I mean that in the absolute best way. Our first stop was at the ruins of Philippi. If you know your New Testament, you know Philippi. This is where Paul and Silas were imprisoned. I had been looking forward to this. I thought this is going to be my big moment, my big aha. And it was beautiful. It really was. But the profound, overwhelming spiritual experience I had been anticipating, it just didn't happen there. And then we made another stop, a little later in the day, at the baptismal of Lydia. Now, I'll be honest with you. My first thought was, oh, this is probably just some spot they made up for tourists. We'll stop, take a picture, move on. But I sat down at the edge of this babbling brook, took my shoes off, put my feet in the water, and something happened. I started thinking about Lydia's story. Paul had been desperately asking God to let him to travel to Asia to spread the gospel. He wanted Asia. He had a plan, and God kept telling him no. So Paul ends up in this small village in Europe instead, not where he intended, not where he asked to be. And somehow, in this little place, he comes across a woman named Lydia. She's a transplant herself, originally from Thyatira in Asia. She's a businesswoman, a seller of purple cloth, which meant she had means and she had influence. She became Paul's first European convert. She opened her home to him in Philippi. And from that home, from that hospitality, from that one unexpected encounter in a place Paul didn't plan to be, the Christian church in Europe was born. Every Christian church today can trace its heritage back to Lydia. I sat there with my feet in that brook, and here's what hit me. In a world that so often tells us that God only works through certain people in certain ways, this story was a reminder that God used an awful lot of women to change the world. And he did it in a place and a way that nobody planned for. That moment, I didn't see it coming. I wasn't even sure we should stop. The magic doesn't always show up where you're looking for it. The second Greece moment came in Athens, and it happened entirely by accident. We were supposed to go somewhere that afternoon. Honestly, I don't even remember where now, but We were running behind schedule, and the group decided to just check into the hotel and wander. So we walked down to the ancient agora of Athens. No agenda, no tour guide, just wandering amongst the ruins. And we came across the bema. Now, the bema was a raised platform in the marketplace where philosophers and public figures would stand to address the crowd. Athens was the intellectual capital of the ancient world. This was where ideas were debated, where great thinkers competed, where your argument either held up or it didn't. And I'm standing there, and it hits me. This is where Paul was found. Greek philosophers had encountered him here, in this marketplace, teaching about Jesus and the resurrection, and they were fascinated by him. Not dismissive, fascinated. They wanted to know if his ideas could hold up next to their greatest thinkers. So they invited him to Mars Hill. And that's where he gave one of the greatest speeches in the New Testament, the Sermon about the Unknown God. That moment at Mars Hill is a cornerstone of early Christianity, and it started right here, in this marketplace. In this place, I ended up only because we were running late and decided to just take a walk. We were supposed to be somewhere else entirely. Thank God we weren't. And that is exactly what travel does when you let it. It puts you somewhere you didn't plan to be, and something happens that changes you. But I want to tell you about a completely different kind of trip. One with no ancient ruins and no profound theological moments. Just me and my son on a regular weekend at Disney World. He was in about 8th grade. There was no special occasion, no birthday, no graduation, no big milestone. We just went. We rode rides, we ate all the snacks, we walked around and existed together for a couple of days without the noise of regular life getting in the way. And I think about that trip all the time because my son is older now, and those ordinary, easy days, just the two of us, no agenda, no pressure, no one else needing anything from either of us, those are the ones I'd give anything to have back for just one more afternoon. That little Disney weekend, core memory, without question. Not because of where we went, because of who I was with. And because for 2 days, everything else just fell away. You know, I traveled to Disney from West Texas roughly every 8 weeks for years. I know that park better than some of the people who work there. And still, that plain, ordinary, nothing special weekend is one I hold closest. Sometimes the most sacred thing is just the time. Here's the thing, though. Most of us don't take the trip. Not because we don't want to, not because we can't afford it or don't have the time. We talk ourselves out of it. We say, we'll go when the kids are older, or when work slows down, or when we've saved a little more, or when the timing is better, or when we figure out the perfect destination. And I get it. Life is loud. Responsibilities are real. And planning a trip feels like one more thing on a list that never gets shorter. But here's what I've learned after years of doing this work. The timing is never perfect, and someday has a way of not arriving on its own. Paul didn't plan to be in Philippi. He didn't plan to be in that marketplace in Athens and be discovered by the greatest of the greatest. I didn't plan to have the experience I had at the baptismal of Lydia. I didn't plan for that Disney weekend to be the one I'd carry with me forever. But we showed up. We went. And something met us there. You have to go for the something to find you. So what actually makes a core memory? I've thought about this a lot, and I've talked to a lot of clients over the years about their favorite trips. And I've noticed some patterns. Core memories almost always come down to these four things. First, presence. Not just being somewhere, but actually being there. Phone in the bag, mind in the moment, fully in it. The trips we have experienced are the ones that blur together later. Second, connection. The best travel memories almost always involve other people. The right people. A partner, your kids, your closest friends, or sometimes a stranger you met for 20 minutes who said exactly what you needed to hear. Travel strips away the surface noise and pulls you closer to the people you're with. Third, something unexpected. The detour, the discovery, the place you weren't planning to stop. You can't manufacture this one, but you can leave room for it. The baptismal of Lydia, the ancient agora, a regular afternoon in a Disney park with your kid. And fourth, permission to just be. Some of the most powerful travel experiences happen when we finally stop being productive, stop optimizing, stop performing for an audience, and just exist somewhere different for a little while. That's when something shifts. That's when a vacation becomes something you carry with you. Now, a note for the planners, because I know some of you listening are planners. Spreadsheets, itineraries, research deep dives at 11 p.m. I see you. I am you. And planning absolutely matters. The right resort, the right timing, the right experiences, all of that sets the stage. But here's what I've learned. The best thing good planning does is create space. Space for the unexpected. Space for connection. Space for the moment that sneaks up on you and makes you catch your breath. Planning removes the friction so the magic has room to show up. When I put together a trip for a client, I'm not just booking travel. I'm building the container for moments they'll remember 20 years from now. That's what I'm actually doing. So here's my question for you this week. What's the trip you keep thinking about? Not the most expensive one, not the most impressive one, the one that lives in your chest a little, the one that still makes you feel something when it comes up. What made it that way? I genuinely love to know. Come find me on social media at Journeys by Jingle and tell me about your core memory trip. I read every single message, and if there's a trip you've been putting off, the one you keep saying you'll take someday, I want to gently tell you, the moments don't wait around forever. My son is older now, and I'm so glad we just went that weekend, even though there was no special reason to. That was the reason. If you're dreaming about a trip and want someone to help you actually make it happen, I'd love to be that person for you. You can find me at journeysbyjingle.net or connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Threads, and Snapchat, all at Journeys by Jingle. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs a little push to finally book that trip. They'll thank you for it. Until next time, pack your bags, make some memories, and I'll see you on the next adventure.